over 7 decades, the story of India and Pakistan has been a complex tapestry woven with threads of shared history, cultural kinship, and unfortunately, deep-seated division and conflict. This week, we find ourselves at another precarious juncture, witnessing a dangerous escalation that underscores the enduring and deeply rooted tensions between these two nuclear-armed neighbors. In this in-depth analysis, we're going to delve beyond the headlines, understand the main cause fueling this seemingly endless cycle of conflict, meticulously break down the alarming events of the past few days, and critically examine the potential pathways forward. At the very heart of the long-standing and often bitter animosity between India and Pakistan lies the intractable disputed region of Kashmir. Since their tumultuous independence in 1947, carved out of British India, both nations have laid claim to full sovereignty over this strategically vital and breathtakingly beautiful, yet tragically contested territory. This fundamental and unresolved disagreement over the fate of Kashmir has served as the primary and persistent driver of mistrust, hostility, and outright violence, casting a long shadow over their bilateral relations. Consider this. Generations have grown up under the shadow of this conflict. What are the long-term psychological and societal scars left by such prolonged instability? And how has this ongoing dispute shaped the national identities of both India and Pakistan? The immediate and brutal trigger for the current and deeply concerning crisis was the horrific terrorist attack on April 22nd in the serene Pahalgam region of Indian-administered Kashmir. In this devastating incident, heavily armed gunmen mercilessly killed 26 innocent people, the majority of whom were Indian tourists seeking the region's natural beauty. The responsibility for this heinous act of violence was swiftly claimed by the Resistance Front, or TRF, a militant group that India alleges is a proxy for Pakistan-based terror organizations. In the aftermath of this attack, India has issued strong and unequivocal accusations against Pakistan, asserting that Islamabad provides sanctuary, training, and logistical support to the TRF and other militant groups operating in the region. Pakistan, for its part, has vehemently and consistently denied any involvement in the Pahalgam attack and has instead called for a transparent and impartial investigation into the incident, suggesting that a rush to judgment could further destabilize the already fragile situation. This raises critical questions. How can credible investigations be conducted in such a politically charged environment? And what evidence truly links state actors to non-state militant groups? This week witnessed a significant and deeply concerning escalation in the form of a direct military response from India. On Wednesday, May 7th, the Indian military launched what they codenamed Operation Sindoor, a series of reported precision missile strikes. According to Indian government sources, these strikes targeted 9 specific locations within Pakistan and Pakistan-administered Kashmir, claiming these sites housed critical terrorist infrastructure and were intended to preempt further attacks on Indian soil. This action marks a significant departure from previous responses and has been interpreted by many as a more assertive and potentially destabilizing shift in India's strategic posture. Pakistan reacted to these strikes with swift and forceful condemnation, unequivocally denouncing India's actions as an unprovoked and blatant act of war, a serious escalation with potentially far-reaching consequences. Pakistani officials have vehemently disputed India's claims regarding the nature of the targeted sites, asserting that the strikes resulted in the tragic deaths of at least 26 innocent civilians and left numerous others severely injured. Furthermore, Pakistan claimed to have retaliated militarily by asserting that its air defense forces successfully shot down several intruding Indian fighter jets, a claim that India has yet to fully acknowledge. Simultaneously, India reported civilian casualties on its side of the line of control due to alleged artillery shelling initiated from the Pakistani side, further fueling the cycle of accusations and recriminations. In this dangerous exchange of fire and accusations, how can verifiable information be accurately disseminated? And what mechanisms exist to prevent miscalculation and unintended escalation between two nuclear powers? The ramifications of this escalating crisis extend far beyond the immediate military actions. We have already witnessed a worrying diplomatic rupture, with both India and Pakistan reportedly expelling diplomats and ordering the repatriation of their respective nationals, a move that significantly reduces channels of communication and further isolates the two nations at a critical juncture. Adding to the complexity, crucial border crossings have been closed, and both countries have taken the drastic step of shutting down their airspace, causing widespread disruptions to international travel and trade across the region. Perhaps even more concerning are the potential long-term implications of the decisions being made. India's unilateral suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty, a decades-old agreement for sharing vital water resources originating in the Himalayas, could have devastating consequences for Pakistan's agricultural sector and overall water security. In response, Pakistan has ominously threatened to suspend the Simla Agreement, a landmark 1972 bilateral accord that outlines the framework for peaceful resolution of disputes. Consider the profound implications. Could the suspension of these crucial agreements unravel decades of delicate, albeit imperfect, cooperation? And what are the potential humanitarian and economic consequences of these actions for the millions of people dependent on these agreements? The international community is observing these rapidly unfolding events with a growing sense of alarm and urgency. Numerous countries and prominent international organizations, including the United Nations, have issued strong statements urging both India and Pakistan to exercise maximum restraint, de-escalate the rapidly deteriorating situation, and prioritize the path of dialogue and diplomatic engagement as the only viable way forward. Several nations have also offered their good offices to mediate and facilitate communication between the two sides. What role can international diplomacy effectively play in de-escalating this crisis? And what are the limitations of external intervention in such deeply entrenched bilateral disputes? So as we piece together these alarming developments, the underlying truth remains stark. The situation between India and Pakistan is incredibly tense, volatile, and fraught with the risk of further and potentially catastrophic escalation. The fundamental and unresolved issue of Kashmir, intertwined with the recent horrific terrorist attack and the subsequent military actions, has created a dangerous and unpredictable flashpoint in a region already burdened by historical grievances and nuclear capabilities. Ultimately, we must unequivocally state that war is not the answer. The potential cost in terms of human lives, both civilian and military, economic devastation, regional instability, and the long-term erosion of trust is simply incalculable and unacceptable. The only sustainable and responsible path forward, however arduous it may seem, lies in a commitment to sustained and meaningful dialogue and diplomacy. India and Pakistan, despite their deep-seated disagreements and historical baggage, share a common future in a shared region. Finding a peaceful and mutually acceptable resolution to the core issues, with Kashmir being central to any lasting stability, is not merely desirable, it is an absolute necessity for the security, prosperity, and well-being of their people and the entire South Asian subcontinent. The international community bears a significant responsibility to actively encourage, support, and facilitate this crucial process, constantly urging restraint and creating space for meaningful engagement. We will continue to closely monitor this deeply concerning situation and provide you with timely and factual updates as they become available. Now, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this escalating crisis? What role do you believe the international community should play? And what steps do you think India and Pakistan can take to de-escalate tensions and move towards a peaceful resolution? Share your perspectives respectfully in the comments section below. Your thoughtful engagement helps to foster a more informed and constructive conversation. If you found this analysis helpful and want to stay updated on this critical situation, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for future updates and in-depth reports. Consider sharing this video with others who want to understand the complexities of this ongoing conflict.